Okay, so week 5 in the NLL, and it's time for our fearless picks. And I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I'll leave it up to you again because I've got that 2-game lead on you. We'll go game by game. You tell me who you want to make the pick first, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'm going to go first. Orlando at Colorado. Colorado leading the league in attendance. Govett seems to have them back on track. Orlando is a very, very strong team. Casey Powell, they're big guys. You and I get to see these guys up close, folks. It's like a team full of tight ends. The guys are huge. Orlando.
I'm going to take Colorado. I like what I've seen so far with Steve Govett taking over behind the bench. And again, home team, with the 75% clip with the home team's winning, if it's a close game, I'm going to edge to the home team. So I'm going to take Colorado now.
Edmonton at Calgary. Go.
Rivalries, provincial rivalries. Edmonton won at home last week. It's Calgary's turn this time, and I'm going to go Calgary.
I think that Derek Keenan is going to end up as the coach of the year in the National Lacrosse League. I'm picking Edmonton.
He'll like to hear you say that.
I honestly got a good feeling about these guys.
Okay, Friday night, Philly is in Toronto.
Philly in Toronto. Gary had a little background information there.
I got to give the inside scoop first.
He's got to give the inside scoop here.
Well, less than an hour ago, I had a chat with Paul Stewart, the assistant coach of Philly, and we had a good conversation. He said, we've struggled a little bit this year, but he said guys are starting to come around, and he really likes the matchup tomorrow night. They've got a good game plan. They're going to be down there as the Rock are. They're going to be down there tomorrow during the day, going through their run around or shoot around, excuse me. And he likes the chances. He did also acknowledge last week. He acknowledged me apologizing to him and having to pick against them. He said, "You know what? You better not make that mistake this week." So you know what? This one's for you, Stewie. And I'm going to take Philly in Toronto, going against everything I've said so far this year. But you know what? I got to go out on a hunch and just try and switch things up a little bit here and give you a chance to get one game closer.
Okay, no homer stuff for me this week, honestly, because I went with the Rock last week with my heart, and it's a little silly. But I'm going to pick the Rock this week, and here's my reasons.
No homer stuff.
I'm not going to do it because of that. I believe that accordingly, and I know that they're going to play Kim Squire in his first game tomorrow night, according to all the message boards. He's going to sit somebody out. So that says to me he is looking for a tough game against Philly. I think Philly's going to come in and they're going to try and physically beat up on the Rock, put them off their game, but I don't think they can do it. Jeff Schneider's only one man, and if Schneider goes out there and he plays the way he can play lacrosse, then the Rock have got some trouble. But if he does anything silly and he ends up sitting in the box for 5 and 10 minutes at a time because he's decided he's going to try and take somebody out, then that's going to be their downfall. But I'm going to pick the Rock, and if they do win, I'm going to pick them by a ton, like 5 or 6.
Well, you know what I think this is going to come down to, too? I think Philly's going to they'll have had the opportunity to watch last week's game between Toronto and Rochester. And you know what? They're going to try and find a few loopholes there. And what so far, up to that point, had been a pretty solid defense for Toronto. So, you know what? Maybe they'll do their homework and come out on top on that one. And that's
well, let's go back to what happened with the Rock last week. Is the Rochester defense kept them away outside. There was none of that nice cutting across the middle stuff that's so familiar to us that watch the OLA game. It wasn't there. They really kept them way outside, forced them to take long shots, and that was the secret to their success.
That's exactly what Toronto had done to them the week before.
Yes.
Here. Yeah. So, okay, so the next game on the slate there, Minnesota at Washington, and this one here as well is a Friday night game.
Yep. The Stealth on a roll. Holy smokes, what more can you say about these guys? They're playing really, really good. Minnesota's hurting. I'm going to go with the hometown factor this time.
You have to. Very, very solid team. And at home, I have a tough time picking against them when they're at home against anybody in this league so far. So I'm going to go with Washington as well. So moving on, Saturday night, Toronto plays the doubleheader this weekend, and they're going down the road to Buffalo.
Yeah, and I know they're expecting a full house in Buffalo on Saturday. And our good friend Swanee, my confrere PA announcer, the dean of all PA announcers I hear in the National Lacrosse League, is probably going to have those people fired up, especially against their cross-border rivals, the Rock. However, dear Bandit fans, I'm afraid the Rock are going to end up 5-1 after this weekend, and they're going to just 5 or 6-1. Whatever.
You are such a homer. Anyways,
the Rock.
You know what? The Bandits put one on the board last week. This is a really close rivalry as well. Excuse me. Toronto, though, has not had as much difficulty in Buffalo as they have down in Rochester, a little bit further south. So, you know what, I'm going to take Toronto in this one. I think at this point in the season they are the better team. As I said, Buffalo did show me something last weekend, but I'm not sure that they're all the way back yet. And of course, John Tavares is still not playing, so
Yep.
I'm going to go Toronto. Last game on the sled for this weekend, Rochester goes into Boston on Saturday night.
Rochester in Boston. This is Rochester's only game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, they're on a pretty big high from last weekend, but Boston's a darn good team. The Dawson boys, Nick Cotter, local guy here from Whitby, is playing very, very well.
They got that guy in net too.
And that guy, what's his name? Kaz going to mention that. Anthony Cosmo, who I think is the top goalie in lacrosse at the present moment. And for other reasons that I just don't think there's way too many egos on Rochester in order for them to be consistently winning week after week. I could see it last week. There was a little bit of nattering back and forth by their bench and on their bench. If Boston gets up by a couple of goals, I think Rochester's going to have a hard time beating them. I'm going to pick Boston.
And you know what? I'm going to go Rochester here. Boston is playing well. They are at home, and I know I'm just going against. I'm just throwing these off the top of my head. But I think player for player, I think Rochester is still the better team. I think 2 weeks ago in Toronto, that was a huge wake-up call to them. And last weekend in Rochester, I think they showed the team that they can be. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that that was just a stinker in Toronto. And I'm going to pick them to win in Boston.
Okay, fair enough.
So those are our fearless pick. Good luck with all yours, and those of you out there participating on the site. I'm still in first place, I'm very glad to say. But by all means, anybody else you want to join in, just throw your picks up on the tab that says NLL Pick'em or NLL Picks for 2010 or whatever. Join in, have some fun with us, and see if you can catch me and catch this guy here.
Okay.
What else you got for us?
Well, I got a couple of things. One I'm going to lay on you right now. Is over the next few weeks, I'm trying to arrange with my employers at Toronto Rock to offer a prize through Lacrosse Inside the Game of 2 tickets to a game.
What can I win?
And a tour of the press box and to see what it's like from where Gary and I sit every week. And you get to meet Gary and I, and I'll try and throw in a howdy do from Mr. Shanahan and the play-by-play guy from TSN there.
Dave Randorf.
Dave Randorf, excuse me, David. I didn't mean to forget your name there. And to throw that in, because I'm trying to put that together right now with Sean Guest and Terry Giverson from The Rock. And the other thing is, got in contact with an old friend of mine this week, Winston Sini, a.k.a. Baggy. A lot of people might know him from the OLA forums, the former PA announcer for the Peterborough Lakers. Winston's had a hard time the past couple of years with illness, and he's dropped out of the public eye to make himself better. And he's in the Barbados right now at his winter home with his lovely wife Linda, and I spoke to him via the internet. And Winston, you're the guy that inspired me a few years ago right in this very building at Pad 1 when I saw you on a telephone talking to someone. And what Winston was actually doing, Gary, was the very first internet broadcast of lacrosse anywhere in the world. And he was doing that. And I went up to him and I said, man, you're doing a really good thing there. And he invited me to come along and join him. We became partners. And any time that I've gone to do a lacrosse announcing job or whatever, he's been very supportive of me. And Winston, this one's for you, my friend. And what I want to see next is the day that you're sitting beside me and Gary in the booth at the Air Canada Centre, and you get to watch Gary and I do our thing. And I love you, man, and peace.
Well put, well put. Yeah. So is that all you got?
Yeah, you know, look after yourself, kids. The summer season's coming up really soon. You're starting to see all the OLA Junior B and Junior A camps open up, early runs and that kind of stuff. It's going to be here really soon. Before you know it, it'll be summer again. So get yourselves in shape, and so we can have a great season next.
So lacrosse season is in the air. It's in all the arenas. The camps are still going. The junior teams are running, as you say. Not too long now, we're going to be watching some lacrosse.
Yeah, you know, just looking at the NLL schedule, the final games are at the end of April, and that's only 8 or 9 weeks away.
So, on behalf of Ron Messer,
hey, support your local lacrosse team and get to a game near you soon.
Gary Mark reminding everybody out there to stay safe and keep